The presentation that we're providing is really intended to be helpful information for you, and it reflects the expert advice between me and Alan and Fran, but it is not construed to be legal or regulatory advice because depending on your specific product, some of the information could be different. So we just wanted to make sure to state that ahead of time. So when we think about design controls in the light of combination products, generally most people that have a drug-based CGMP operating system are focused on applying, identifying the drug critical quality attributes, critical material attributes, and critical process parameters. And typically we apply ICH-Q8R2, quality by design, ICH-Q9R1, which is pharmaceutical quality risk management, and ICH-Q10, which is like the CGMPs on the pharma side. It's analogous to, but not completely 100% the same as 21 CFR 210-211. So in that context, knowing that the drug is my focus, I still have to worry about my device constituent part. And that device constituent part is built on a foundation, again, of risk management. And here you could look at AMI TIR 105 from 2020. That particular technical information report is called Combination Products Risk Management, and it talks about the integration of ISO 14971 with ICH-Q9R1. Now, design controls sits on top of all of that. So my drugs, CQAs, and CMAs and CPPs is an input into my design control process. The risk management foundation that I'm forming as I think about risk management for the device and for the drug and their integration also become inputs into this design control process. And this cascade going from user needs to inputs and outputs, this is a classic diagram from back in 1997 that the FDA put out. But if you look at it just a little bit more closely, the design control subparts start out with design and development planning, making sure that you're very clearly defining what the user needs are, what the intended uses are, the intended use environment for the product, translating those user needs into design inputs or technical design requirements, and then through your iterative design process, translating those inputs into outputs, and those outputs are in the form of the device constituent part and the combination product. And then once you have those outputs in place, you need to verify them relative to the input requirements to prove that you made what you said you were going to make. And assuming that you did make what you said you were going to make, you have to then prove that the device and the combination product are actually meeting the user needs and intended uses that you set out to achieve in the first part. Now, in the shorthand diagram that the FDA uses, things that do not show up in that diagram, but that are subparts of design controls include your human factors. It includes design change control, both pre and post-market, design transfer, and your design and development file, also known as a design history file or a medical device file. Okay, so these are all subparts of design controls. Now, when I look at that and hey, wait, the FDA started introducing this term, essential performance requirements, and industry really got very confused about these essential performance requirements. So in trying to clarify it during the last webinar, we talked about, well, there's this new term that got identified called essential design outputs. And when you look at the FDA training that they even have available online, where they talk about what a design output is, one of the notes that they talk about is that you have to identify of those design outputs, right? Those are the outputs that have translated your technical design requirements into the finished product specifications and acceptance criteria, definable and measurable. You are expected to define the design outputs that are essential for the proper functioning of the device, okay? And that quote about those essential design outputs is there in the current quality system regulation under 21 CFR 820-30D. And it's also under ISO 13485, clause 7.3D. It also refers to essential design outputs. So when we start thinking about, well, wait, what's the FDA talking about when they start talking about essential drug delivery outputs? It's really this concept of essential design outputs. It's just that in the drug world, we were not accustomed to thinking about that terminology. So the FDA had tried to introduce the word EPR, the phrase EPRs, to represent it. Because it was still leading to confusion, the FDA came out with their guidance to clarify these essential design outputs that are specifically intended for drug delivery.